share this speech with you. So here we go. Graduation speech, take one. Copyright the entire class of 2012. Each year we spent 180-something days together. Over the course of 4 years, that makes 720-something days, squished next to each other in the hallways, staking out our lunch tables, and cramming as much as we could into our heads. After classes would end and the bell would ring, we would seemingly go our separate ways, to sports teams or theater rehearsals, to student council or NHS or math team or whatever extracurricular suited us best. We would use our elementary school skills and multiply into one grand class in the morning, tired at 7:25, and by the afternoon, whether it was a 1:45 or a torturous 1:55, we would divide, and again for 4 years. But sometimes we would suddenly collide into one mass, whether it was fighting for a homecoming title, desperately praying that no one dropped the egg or the spoon, or crowding together on the pavement during an emergency, hoping that if the kiln exploded, we'd get to go home. When it came down to it, we were a community. There are these pictures that I learned about in astronomy, the ones that astronauts take from millions of miles away. There is Earth in full roaring glory, where there is sea and sand and caps and gowns. The continents are covered with lights like glitter. Each dot is a light that illuminates a world, a school, a group of rowdy kids decked out in orange. And if you took a picture of us right now, nervous and excited on the rotating Earth, we'd all be right here. You could pinpoint the entire class exactly. And I could say that everyone I went to high school with was stuck on one little dot. At age 6, there were lights coming from classrooms where we learned our first lessons. At 16, there were lights coming from cars we were learning to drive. At 17, lights coming from cars that drove a little straighter. But after today, after a month, a year, or 20 years, the picture will be much different. We'll be scattered like the universe is playing Yahtzee with our lives. Our lives were tightly intertwined for the longest time, but they will unravel at breathtaking speed, because time moves fast. And in a couple of moments, we will all be alumni of Grafton High School. Things come and go, things like the super park. It's gone now, but its hard-won beams are still cemented in our minds. There are things and people that stick with us, and whether we expected it or not, some of these things and people came from Grafton. I don't know what any of you will do at the point in which you are scattered far, far away from your peers. Maybe someone will try out for a game show and some will skydive. Some of us will waltz. But if we survived Swine 09, there's nothing to fear out there. And if a couple of hurricane days couldn't stop us, what can? But really, whatever you do, I personally wish you all the best. But remember, this isn't my speech, it's our speech. So whatever you do, the entire class of 2012 wishes you the best.
At speak at graduation. I'm scared of speaking in front of people. I'm literally shaking and sweating right now. And this is not how I want people to remember me. However, for 12 years, I've seen those in my class almost every day. Most of you I've talked to, but not all of you. Many of you I know, but once again, not all of you. I care about our class, which is why I decided to speak at graduation. My time at Grafton High has been defined by 3 things: my teachers, my classmates, and the crammed hallways. Our teachers have guided us through our 4 years here. They've helped transform us from the trembling freshmen who stare at them with lost eyes into the confident, prepared graduates that we are today. Through their classes, we discovered our passions, our dreams, and what is beginning today, our future. However, none of that came easily. We had to struggle through the classes that weren't our favorites, falling asleep and failing a few tests here and there. We had to pull all-nighters to finish projects that were signed months in advance, and each one of us had to spend the last 2 days of summer speed reading a book instead of sitting by the pool. Though we hate to admit it, it was all worth it. We didn't just create projects and papers in the classroom. We made memories. They're different for all of us, but for me, there are a few moments that I'll never, ever forget. Like when Ben thought Harvard was in Kansas, or when we all got lost in Salem searching for the answers to that never-ending packet. I'll never forget what it felt like to finally make it on the board in personal fitness, or what it felt like to be the only high schoolers at Eureka, a play where we learned how to count 2 + 2. The image of Mrs. Lambert falling as she tried to pick up a backpack, while Kirsten encouraged her to just sling it over her shoulder, will never cease to make me laugh, nor will the image of Mr. Rourke's throwing a dry ice demo bomb against the school shed. We all have shared memories that will make us cringe, laugh, and dare I say it, miss high school. With that, I'd like to thank our teachers for successfully getting us to this point, for putting up with our shenanigans, our complaining, our excuses, and our senioritis, and somehow still managing to teach us through it all. In addition to my teachers, high school would not have been the same without each of you. There is no denying it, we are all different. In the class of 2012, we have a future NFL quarterback, a future Grammy winner, and a future military officer. We each contribute something unique to our class. When I went to my first ever basketball game this year, I was surprised to see life-size posters that friends of the senior players were holding to cheer them on. Though the pictures were slightly frightening, I could feel the unity in the room. And when I watched the Sunday performance of Legally Blonde, though the show was amazing, all I could see was how much the seniors on the stage were going to miss it, and each other. We are the last class to decorate the halls of our Grafton High. Bright orange never looked so good. We are the last class to flaunt our seniority in front of the school at 6:30 a.m. And we are the last class to sprint off the old creaky bleachers into the center of the gym, jumping up and down as we share our victory. These past 4 years, I've been surrounded by my classmates for 5 days a week. And though I have so many memories I want to share with you all I can say is thank you for making high school unforgettable. Graduation marks the end of so many things. The end of high school, the end of seeing each other every day, and the end of a 12-year journey. Though that all seems obvious, it took me into my last few weeks of school to realize it. And oddly enough, I realized it while I was crammed between people, not moving, waiting to walk up the main staircase. At Grafton High, this is a daily occurrence, hence the new school. But if it weren't for those uncomfortably small hallways, I may not have been forced to slow my daily routine down and look around. I may not have seen my classmates chatting with each other, or my friends smiling at me. I may not have smelled the freshly baked cookies coming from Miss Blessing's room. I may not have been able to take a break and enjoy where I was in that moment. I may not have realized that we could never get that time back. Today we are graduating, and we will never walk the halls of Grafton High School together again. But we are ready to walk the halls of our lives, and we finally have space to choose where we want to go. A new journey begins today for all of us. To the graduating class of 2012, congratulations, and let the journey begin.